Welcome back to the Ragnarok tutorial series. In this video, we are going to go through the basic structures of an NPC file. We will only touch on two main NPC types in this video. They are Script NPC and Shop NPC. Let's start by opening the NPC folder inside our trunk. You'll notice we have many subdirectories here that we can sort our NPCs with. We'll quickly familiarize ourselves with these folders right now. We'll read the names and try to remember them. If you ever want to make custom changes to official scripts, it'll be good to know roughly what direction to go looking. At the bottom, we're presented with various config files. We will only focus on one of these configs for right now, this config being scripts Athena config, also known as the main config. Like all other files, this can be edited with your local notepad. In the editor, you'll notice there are various sections around each batch of scripts. This is where you'll be able to search for specific scripts that you want to change. For this section of the guide, we will be focusing on a custom category we will make ourselves. We'll also add two new NPCs into the world and test them in-game. At the top, let's make that category. We'll recycle the comments below. The first thing we need to do is specify where the script is located. Note here how everything starts with NPC:. This is to let the server know it's an NPC file we're looking for. Next, we need to set the location. Inside the trunk, we have our NPC scripts located in the NPC folder, so we'll set that as the first path argument. We'll follow that by the folder we're in. This first example is located in the airports folder, and once you've landed in the destination the script is in, set the name of the script. Now that we have a better understanding of the file structure, we'll make a custom folder to operate in. We'll do this so our custom scripts can be backed up outside of the trunk. When making custom scripts, it's a good idea to keep things organized in a custom folder where you can easily back them up at any time. Let's actually do that right now. Let's start with a custom folder. I'll call mine MyRO. Inside the MyRO folder, I will make another folder called Shop. This is where I'll put all my shop-related NPCs. It's time to make an NPC script now that we have a location for them to go into. Start by making a text file. And yes, if you're wondering, the Athena trunk will read your script.txt if you have it all in the proper format and syntax. If you want to see some visuals, set the script syntax to C++ mode. Now before we begin scripting in Ragnarok Online, there's a few things we should know before we start. First, we should always use an editor that we're comfortable with. This can be a range from Visual Studios to Visual Code to even Notepad. The best editor is the one that works best for you. Personally, I just use Notepad++ and Sublime Text for my optimal experience. Next, we'll want to understand that we should be commenting our code. Using 2 forward slashes, we'll comment out everything from the slashes to the end of that line. This allows us to add notes and comments to the code without affecting its execution. Then we have tabs versus spaces. Tabs and spaces are very different. It's best practice to use tabs for indentation to separate lines of code visually. This helps maintain consistency and readability in your code. We also have search functionality, which surprisingly a lot of people don't know about. You can use Control F to search for various bits of text throughout one single document or your entire solution. This will be your best friend when editing large code bases, helping you quickly find and navigate to specific sections of code. Understanding the Athena structure will help you familiarize yourself with the Athena project itself. Knowing where certain files and scripts are located will save you time and make your workflow much more efficient. Maintain a consistent coding style throughout your projects. This includes consistent naming conventions, indentations, and commenting. This helps improve the readability and maintainability of your code, not for others, but also for yourself. Use version control systems like Git to keep track of changes to your code base. This allows you to revert to previous versions if needed and collaborate with others more effectively. And make sure to thoroughly read documentation. Athena especially has an extensive documentation. Make sure to read through and understand the functions and structures that are available to you. This will help you write more effective and efficient code. With this in mind, we are ready to start coding. That text file we are making needs a name. I'll call mine townshops.txt. Open the script and we'll see an empty page. This is a great start. An NPC, or more specifically a shop NPC, will require a few things to spawn into the world. A location for it to spawn, the type of script it is, a display name for the NPC followed by the item and prices of it. Once set correctly, the NPC is ready to go into the game. I pasted a working example that will look like this. We'll move right to the beginning though. We'll start the line with the NPC's location. In this example, it's Prontera, located at x157, y157, and the rotation is set to 6. we'll put a tab to tell the system that we're moving on to the next part of the code. This has to be a tab, it cannot be spaces. We've got several variables that we can put into this next slot. As stated at the beginning of the video, we'll only focus on two of those main variables, script and shop. For this specific NPC, we are going to use shop for this option. We should now have Prontera 157.157.6 shop. Next, we need to give it a name. This will be what is displayed to the user when they put their mouse over the NPC. They will see this name. I will call it herb dealer. Now, for a shop NPC, we need to specify a few things in this next part of the code. After the name, we can now specify an NPC ID number. The ID number must be included in your NPC ID configs. This is located in the grf's Lua files. For a list of NPC IDs, check out the link in the description under NPC ID list. We'll pick 69 for our example. And now we're ready to add the item ID and the price that we want to sell the item for. We'll have to specify this with an exact syntax or the server won't read it either. The item must come first, separated by a colon, and followed by the price of the item. So here we have 621, which should be bitter herb, selling for 250 zeni each, and 510, which should be blue herb, selling for 1000 zeni each. Be sure to double check the format and syntax of your NPC or the server will not read it. With the NPC saved, we're ready to update the config now. As shown before, we need to have NPC followed by the NPC's location and the NPC script name. We can save the config and we're ready to reload it in the game. Now, if this is all we need to make, then that's great. We can go into the game and type @reload NPC, NPC location followed by the NPC name, and hit enter. For this, it would be npc/myro/shop/townsshop.txt. Before I go moving the shop NPC into the game though, I want to make an NPC to greet me as well. I'll make a new script and give it a name. This name will be Greeter. The start of the script should be exactly as before, except this time instead of shop, we will replace it with script. It will now appear as Prontera 157.150.6 script. I'll give the NPC the name Greeter as this will only be for the sole purpose of greeting people. Now, what we want to display on the screen is the NPC saying hello when it's clicked on or talked to. The NPC in this example will say hello and welcome to our server in the next line. But we can't really just paste an NPC into the script and say we know what's going on. We have to get a better understanding of it. So let's break this down into more digestible pieces, shall we? We open the script with our basic NPC information, location, script type, name, and the NPC ID number. The brackets are telling the server to expect incoming code where it starts and ends, as well as all the NPC details in between that it's going to use. This is the structure of the script type NPC. This bracket will start on the left and open the code cave, and the right bracket will close it. You can use multiple brackets to open multiple tunnels in the code cave as long as you close them all properly. About the script making though, we only need one set of brackets for this example. We will start the code on a new line now. Our first function we are going to call is mess, which, as you can guess, stands for message. This will tell the NPC's chat window to display the following message until you tell it to stop. We can add new message lines moving down, and the NPC will display the text in the chat box. Just remember to close every line with a semicolon to tell the server to move on to the next line. Without this, you will encounter errors. Our first line of the message will say greeter. This is going to be the name of the greeter. We'll break it down to another message that'll say on the first line, hello. Continuing our message on the second line, we say, welcome to our server. And finally, we can enable the chat window to be closed with a close button. This is called with the simple function close below the message lines. And as always, be sure to close that line with a semicolon. You'll learn to hate hearing that. A quick change we can do for this NPC is to display the user's name to the conversation to make it more personable. By adding the function to pull the character's string information, we can insert it between the greeting and the text and add their character name to that greeting. This will use one of those pre-built functions that we have in our trunk. We add the plus symbol in between the text that the NPC will display on screen to add a function in between it. We can do many things with this function in between, but for right now, we're just going to call the character's name. We'll add the string character info function, and then we'll add another plus symbol after that. This plus symbol is continuing the text that the NPC is going to say. With this, it should now say our unique character name in the conversation. Running it real quick in game. Everything looks groovy so far. So we now know how to make an NPC, but this is only touching the surface of what we can do with them. Browse the documentations and the trunk's existing code for a stronger feel on how various aspects of the code work. Don't be afraid to learn something new every day. And that wraps it up for this part of the tutorial. To learn more about making NPCs, I highly recommend reading the documentation and joining the support forums. There's various discords that you can also join that'll help you as well. They are all full of valuable information to keep you going. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.